next speaker here is someone that is very near and dear to my heart. Honestly, I would have not been able to accomplish half the things that I have accomplished in my life if it hadn't been for our next speaker. Oh my gosh, I'm not crying, you're crying. So our next speaker is Mr. Jeff Perdue Atkins, and let me tell you a little bit about Jeff. Right, Jeff has been an accountability coach for me and my husband's company, Quantum Impact, for the past few years. He is the productivity Jedi for sure. He's also an integral part of the Coachtalks team. He has done a lot of the back end stuff. He's that person that holds everything together that you don't always get to see. So I'm really excited that you guys get to see and experience him for yourself. He's worked with multiple international best-selling authors, artists, coaches, and Fortune 500 companies to create brands, grow sales, and be able to create systems and processes that allow for freedom in their actions, options, and their income. I urge you to follow him, and he's got the cutest little fur babies himself. They're super cute Shih Tzus, and he's like, yes, they're amazing. Prince Rupert and Prince Frederick over on their YouTube channel, True Awesome Life. He gives tips, tricks, their journey. He is a full-time RV digital nomad, traveling around the United States, meditating in some of the most beautiful places that they can find, and showing you what it looks like and for you to live your true awesome life no matter what. Right? Jeff is also studying to be a Jedi cleric with the Temple of the Jedi Order and loves discussing the connection between all living things. Guys, please, give me, I am so thrilled and honored to be able to introduce this man that he is stepping up and flying into the world, right? So please welcome with your best emojis and gifts and round of applause, Mr. Jeff Perdue Atkins. Welcome to the Coachtalks platform. Woo!
Hello, everyone. How are you today? Do me a favor. Do me a big, huge favor. Let me know if you hear me okay, because honestly, I ordered a microphone after talking to last night, and it's brand new. Haven't tested it out. It came in literally because Tweez told me it would come in today, and it came in right during lunch. So I haven't got to test it. I haven't got anything. So please leave me some comments. Let me know. And I can see them because I am here. Oh, awesome. So as Allie said, Allie's not supposed to let me make me cry right before I go on. I am an accountability coach. And, really what I want to talk to you about today is going from breakdown to breakthrough. One of the hardest things to deal with is, just having a breakdown and, things not working the way you want them to, things not right where you need them to be, and dealing with that over and over again and having that push you forward in such a way. So how do I know how to talk about this? Well, I'm going to start all the way back in 1997, okay, where I had brain surgery. I was working for a club. We had a really great time the night before, me and my friends, and we got trashed. I mean, trashed. So I was young. I was a little young. So my friend came to pick me up from work at my other job, and decided that was very angry that we didn't all want to go out, and decided to take the car and pull it out from underneath me as I was sitting on it. I ended up having brain surgery. I got flown to U of M. They did an amazing job. It took me about 6 months to get back to normal. But one of the effects from the brain surgery was that I couldn't read black text on white paper. I couldn't read at all for a long time. I couldn't even watch TV. I spent about 2 months not even being able to do that. And one of the great things that was happening at that time was the internet was just coming into its own, right? And it allowed me, at that time, you could go and take your browser and lock in colors so that I could actually interact with the world and I can actually see things. It was so amazing. And I started getting into chat rooms, because that's when chat rooms actually existed. And I would go in and they all had websites. So I got to build a website. Okay. I was actually pretty good at building websites. We found out I have a really, design is actually really strong in me. And what ended up happening is that someone took notice and they had a web development company down in West Palm Beach, Florida. I'm from Michigan, just so you guys know, and said, hey, why don't you come down and work for me? Okay, so I went and ran Objective Design Studios, and that was so freaking awesome. So picture this, I had brain surgery in 97. In 98, I moved down to West Palm Beach, Florida, right? And I'm running this web development company, and it was amazing. Oh my God, it was so amazing. I'm in West Palm Beach, Florida, from Michigan. I'm a Michigan boy, so I'm enjoying this heat, this wonderful thing. And then I worked with NumberQuest, which got bought up by astrology.com. If you ever do any of their number stuff, it's all stuff that I coded and numbered just with a nice little pretty thing. All the descriptions I wrote on your numbers, so it's kind of fun. I did the original Toon Disney website, and it was amazing to be able to do these things for me. And so what was really funny, so I'm actually I'm in Disney, and I'm in working with the team there, and the internet bubble busted. There was big headlines. I think it was on Newsweek. Internet bubble busted. I had 12 clients that day call and cancel. What am I going to do? I'm in a different state. Everything's crazy. And yes, I'm working with Team Disney, and yes, I have some money coming in, and everything was okay, but it wasn't where I wanted to be. So I came back to Michigan, and I ended up running a nightclub. And it was another one of amazing times of my life. I ran this nightclub. It was 1X. It was in Detroit. It was amazing. Everything I wanted, because I went to school for marketing. So I'm working this nightclub, and if you've ever worked in a nightclub, it's the funnest, hardest, and craziest job you're ever going to work in your life, right? And I'm working this nightclub in about a year. It was in 99. Yeah, in 99, it caught fire and burnt down. Okay, so oh my God, what am I gonna do now? I don't know. And then I ended up going to Philadelphia, and I ended up running another nightclub, believe it or not. And there, I actually had $1 million to spend on a weekend. It was like when we're talking about bringing Madonna in, it was that kind of place. It was amazing. I had a great time there, but the owner was crazy. Okay, and I don't put things off on other people very often, but there was actually at the community center down there was a support group for people who have worked for him or do work for him, because he really was that crazy, and he was a big person in the community. So of course, everything's crazy. He knew a lot of people. He affected a lot of people, and mostly negatively, including me. He decided one day that he was going to fire me because I had fishing line hanging up decorations. So I'm like, okay, now I'm in a different state again without a job, and everything was crazy again, and I ended up coming back up to Michigan and ran a tax office, which was really crazy. I ended up getting into taxes, ran a tax office. They were going to give me this office, but I knew that it wasn't in the right location. It was a lot too hard for me to actually work with. It was in a very ethnic area of neighborhood that we didn't have anyone of that ethnicity working for us, because they were all working for other people of that ethnicity. And so we were having a lot of problems, getting clients and keeping clients and things like that. And I just didn't want to deal with that. So I had got a phone call around April 1st that something that I put up, because when I was a kid, I worked in a restaurant, and it was great, and it was a corporate restaurant, and I sent a job description up, because they always say that you can do anything, and they want to hear from you. And I sent this up while I was in school, that they needed somebody that was really dealing with local marketing. And we had this big, huge marketing budget on the national level, but we weren't doing anything in the neighborhoods, and we were getting beat out by the mom and pop down the street. So it really didn't work well for us, right? So I got a phone call. That job description came back down as a whole program that they ran, and they wanted me to come in and take that job. It was, again, I wrote the job description. It was amazing. It was everything I could possibly want, right? I actually increased sales by 20% in the market. I donated $2.5 million to the Detroit Zoo when they were getting ready to close. It was phenomenal. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And then they sold us in the franchise because I got us profitable, right? And they decided that my job wasn't needed, that they spent enough on their budget. Okay. I do have to say, with a little bit of satisfaction, they closed out of 48 stores. They have 17 left. So, not saying I told you so, but I told you so. From there, I actually started my own company because I realized I didn't want to do that anymore. I couldn't work in that office. I couldn't work for those people. And I started my own company. I worked with authors and artists, and I created this site that allowed them to create fan clubs. And what was really great about it is that it interfaced with Facebook and Twitter and something else at the time that was actually popular that doesn't exist anymore. And it allowed you to kind of send messages instantaneously, kind of like Hootsuite and stuff like that. But the money, as they interacted on this site, they gained money toward their fans gained points, which equated to money so they could buy their products. Okay, so they can buy their books, they can buy the artwork, and it was so much fun. But Facebook, about a week after I launched, decided to change their algorithm and no longer allowed groups to be messaged into. Again, what am I going to do? And I ran that for about a year. I was doing some other stuff with authors and stuff, so it was kind of cool. But it was like a year and a half of like crazy and dragging out and kicking a dead horse. So it was like, all right, what am I going to do now? And while I was doing that, though, I started going to this spiritual life center of Ferndale, this great spiritual center. And I really fell in love with it. I started working with them, and I was doing some volunteer work. And then I kind of picked up an actual job from being there, and it kind of worked out. And so then I was working at the spiritual life center, and I realized that I was really called to touch people's lives. And I don't know how I was going to do that or anything. And then I was started hearing about Landmark. That was a lot of fun. And so what I ended up going through Landmark programs. And right about that time is when my mom moved in with me because she needed a caregiver. She was really sick. She had 12 different doctors appointment and 12 different appointments at least every month. And that's not including tests and things. That was just the ones that she has to go into every month. And we had, and I did that for 5 years. And I realized, how, and I'm so fortunate to be able to have done that. But I was living someone else's life as her caregiver. And so what we ended up doing is we got her well. I asked her one day, are you going to live or die? And I will treat you accordingly. And she decided she was going to live. So we started doing some things. We changed her doctors up. We got her off some of the medications. And now she's actually living on her own for the first time in, I think, 12 years. So it's really amazing, the things that happened there. And right about towards the end of that, I decided that I wanted to live in an RV and I wanted to travel the country. And in order to do that, I had to work online. And how was I going to do that? And I started coaching and doing some stuff. And I was actually working with Quantum in the back end. Actually, I worked with Chan Holly before they were Chan Holly. And so I was working with them and doing some back end work and stuff like that. And I knew I wanted to coach. I wanted to touch people's lives. And I got into Quantum. I can't even talk about that. I'm going to talk to you. I get to introduce them later, so I'm going to talk to you about that later. But the last 2 years have been absolutely everything in my dreams. Just fantastic. And they've allowed me the freedom and the ability to live the life I live now. And I can't even imagine the person that was the sales coach and his favorite thing, or the nightclub person, can't even imagine who I get to be now, and how many lives I get to touch, and how many clients that we've went through together and moved, lives. And what we realized is that I was using them as a crutch in a lot of ways, and I needed to launch. And that's where we are now, as I'm launching True Awesome Life. It's a lot of fun and a lot of craziness. But through it all, all the breakdowns, and I forgot to talk about the biggest one. Right before Quantum, I had a nervous breakdown because I realized that I wasn't living the life I was supposed to live, and things were absolutely crazy. And right down to my dog died. It couldn't have gotten any worse if I tried. And I started working with, that's actually when I started working with Holly. Holly gave me an app and a couple things that really moved me forward. Within 2 months of the breakdown, I tripled my income. It was like stupid. And then I started working with Quantum. Now it's True Awesome Life. And there's some things that actually, for all of those breakdowns, I can tell you that there's actually just 4 steps that can take you from breakdown to breakthrough. And the first one is integrity. Okay, the first thing is, and it's, when you hear integrity, a lot of times you think of right or wrong. And it's not about right or wrong. Okay, it is about being perfect, whole, and complete. As they were saying last night, everything's complete. And every time you put your word out, because we live in our language, every time we put our word out to things and don't do the things we know to do, or the things we said we would do, or the things that are just expected of us to do, like, you should take out your garbage, things like that. Every time it takes a little piece of you and dulls it in someone else's listening and someone else's language, or your own. And as you do that, it's little pieces that just start breaking apart. And if you think of it as like the roots of a tree, and the bark, if you pick up a couple twigs off of a tree, it's not gonna affect anything. But once you start pulling on big branches and taking all the leaves off a branch, it's really gonna start falling apart really quickly. So putting your integrity back in is really important. The next thing is having aligned goals and routines. Now, people always think that they are aligned with the life that they want to live. And I can tell you, as mom's caregiver, or even I was not aligned with the life I wanted to live. I wasn't living my life. I was an adjunct to hers. A lot of people say that their family is the most important thing to them, but where is it on their schedule? Where is your health on your schedule? Where are they doing your self-care? Where's that on your schedule? So I found that if you have aligned goals and routines, it really does make a big, huge difference. And that's what our clients have realized. The next thing is having really strong existence systems. Now, what's an existence system? It could be anything that to have it so that someone else can see it, touch it, taste it, depending on what you're doing, right? It could be baking a cake, could be an existence system for a baker, right? The recipe, written down, would be the existence system. For me, I talk a lot about time management. So it's a calendar. It's having great Trello. I use a lot, and there's other ones all the way around. And last but not least is accountability. So the reason why you want accountability is it takes your 60%. If you're doing everything else, you're about 60% able to achieve any goal. Okay? Well, having someone that you're accountable to will make it 90%. It's amazing. And I know that we all hate accountability sometimes, but it is really what drives you forward. And that's why coaching is so important for people. But I really appreciate you guys letting me be here today. I am in the back, so I'll be here for a while. I got a gift for you guys. I was laughing. I'm like, what am I going to give you guys? I actually wrote a book, 10 Minute Reboots. And I wrote this while I was coming back from the nervous breakdown, and what it is 10 exercises that allow you to really just like stop on a dime and get rid of all those negative thoughts and change your mindset, and you can pick that up at trueawesomelife.com/mini reboots. And, I just really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for letting me be here and letting me be on. I'm going to bring Holly back, and she's going to get me out of here. I love you.
Yes! Give it up for Jeff Perdue, Atkins. Woo! Make sure that you get that mini reboot book at trueawesomelife.com. I have been able to have the honor and the privilege of working with Jeff over the years, and I've seen him be able to overcome massive things, right? And we really can take any breakdown in our life and turn it into like a breakthrough, right? How often, I'm sure you've experienced this. It's like before every breakthrough, there's some sort of breakdown, and being able to move powerfully through that in any area, in any circumstance, no matter what it is that you're going through, right? Jeff is, he's done a lot for our clients and helping them stay accountable. And I put it in the chat, but it's like transformation happens in that space of accountability. And more times than not, accountability is what a lot of people like run from the most. They're like, accountability? Well, I don't want that. However, and myself included, right? So I've had this breakthrough. But when we are have this space of accountability and have someone to work with us, to hold us accountable to things, then it really can make a humongous difference in your production and the promises that you make with people, in your integrity. When you have integrity, everything works, just like Jeff was talking about, right? So